Nathaniel, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. It's a real privilege and an honor. You have many years experience in IP in the United States, bringing some startups, inventions into the public domain. How is the current COVID-19 situation impacting IP in general, and which are the major changes you've seen in the last few months?
Well, the entire world's changed, as we know. I think one of the aspects that I have focused on is just healthcare. Healthcare is notoriously a safe haven in times of economic depression or downturn, and we're facing obviously unprecedented economic challenges. The healthcare system, at the same time, has been overwhelmed, and I happen to believe that a lot of the solutions and a lot of the innovations will come from, practitioners in that space, and been working in that space quite heavily to both reduce to practice inventions that have been created that have applicability to help address the global crisis, as well as innovation. We've all had additional time to write and to read and to study and to research, and this kind of quiet time, if you will, has lent itself to innovation. And the mother of invention is often the ideas that come under duress, or that are rise to a particular human need. So whether it's computers, computer software, apparatus, products, services, all of these things that we can patent and protect, sometimes these ideas emanate out of crisis. And so we've kind of rallied around that at the IPN, and have worked with some key individuals within healthcare and within technology to bring forth the inventions that we feel help address. I would also say other areas of the economy. Other practitioners have approached us in this time to complete research, to study intellectual property patent portfolios and the landscape or prior art.
It seems, based on your background, you really have a good, serene place to really do a lot of thinking. And over the past decade, one of the lines of business that you have been involved with is the mass commercialization and enforcement of internet patents related to the customization of internet content to end users. What are the challenges and opportunities the current situation presents to this line of work in particular?
Well, it's a great question. In terms of targeting content to end users, or utilizing internet-based technologies to reach consumers, obviously we have a heightened awareness now around this, whether it's, the healthcare system now, moving people into telehealth, all of the marketing and the human behavior teaching that needs to invoke, around targeted systems. So when you target somebody for an advertisement, now you can on-ramp them into aspects of the internet, in terms of internet responses, mobile responses, things that you want to do, as a marketer, can be, largely enhanced now around these targeted systems.
Nathaniel, being the president and chief technology officer of the Intellectual Property Network, you work across different industries. Do you see the current situation having a financial impact on IP stakeholders? And if so, would you say it is more noticeable in some industries over others?
Well, what we've seen was, kind of an invention catalyst. So we have some in the medical space, and others in general business that have taken the quiet time to, innovate around their systems or processes. I would say, from my standpoint, also from our perspective at the Intellectual Property Network, how companies will look at this asset. This asset of IP, intellectual property, can be leveraged towards monetization. So whether it's out licensing or outright sale, or a combination of strategies around the monetization of patent assets, as the the need for capital it presents itself, um, IP becomes a central asset at both for the raising of capital. How do you differentiate yourself from every other company that is hungry or needs capital in your space? Well, intellectual property can be the lever, can be the uniqueness. It by nature is unique and proprietary to your company. So these are assets that, as competition for capital increases, and as companies look at assets in general, within their bailiwick of things that they can do to survive, we have IP that stands kind of high and mighty with respect to our response. We have an intellectual property strategy that we can put into play from everything from a startup to raise capital and to differentiate, to a very established company that needs to also differentiate, but maybe leverage what they own, and a portfolio that maybe needs to be reinvigorated, repositioned, remarketed, relicensed. We can look at these assets anew under the crisis.
Is there anything else you would like to add that reflects how IP has been impacted by the global reality that we're currently living in?
Well, I think the key to innovation is to never give up, to always focus on the strategies within your companies and how to make the proprietary hooks you have into the market greater and stronger. The key, I think, with respect to COVID-19 or this pandemic that we're under as a global community, we can definitely see that some inventions that have entered the market, whether it's telehealth, we're having this conversation, you in Israel, me from New Jersey. We are having a seamless conversation. 10 years ago, this was at the avant-garde. Now we're seeing the absolute complete, commercialization and adoption. Zoom, the platform that we're on, is obtained hundreds of millions of dollars in market capitalization off a technology that, quite frankly, has been around for more than 20 years. And so they've perfected it. They've enhanced it. They've made it consumable, and that there's a lesson in that. And you can see at the pandemic how things that we've invented, their utility becomes very heightened and clear. One of the keys to invention is to be able to project yourself, to think of things that have not occurred yet, that will occur in the future, and invent into them the solutions. And so I think this can make the futurist of all of us. People that saw the pandemic coming are amongst the greatest innovators of our time, because they saw what was coming. This thermometer that can take your temperature from far away, the idea that you can have a biological or biotech solutions to testing, or eventually a vaccine. These are all innovations that have been done now under compression, under time compression, and under stress. We have to, as inventors, project ourselves into the crisis, into the future. And whether it's an invention of convenience or quality of life, we have to think ahead. And so at the IPN, we've prided ourselves, like Adio Y, one that solved the internet for people with disabilities. We projected that what happened in the 80s with people trying to get into buildings and being discriminated against in a physical environment would also occur in a digital environment, and we invented a solution. So the same idea applies here, where we're now seeing the pandemic upon us, and we see innovations that were already here that get to the avant-garde, and we can also see under the compression of time on the biotech side that we need to invent. So I think that this is a lesson in projection. It's a lesson in trying to be futurist in our thinking. And if we can do that, we'll all be better innovators, and we can build a better world.
Yeah, this is super interesting. It sounds like a lot of things are going on in the patent space. Is there anything related to COVID-19? You're dealing with many different innovations. Is there anything related to COVID-19? Any patents innovation that you'd be able to share with us?
Well, I'm under confidentiality on some of the projects that I'm currently working on, but I would tell you in biotech that there's a layer of invention that's coming around innovative healthcare solutions, both on the apparatus side, so things that you can touch and feel, and on the biotech side, people that are working on the biotech side of this pandemic, and that have solved it, that believe they have solved it, and are seeking protection of those inventions before they bring it to market. So I would tell you the future is bright, and that this pandemic has taught us all that we're all more closely connected than we realize, and that the sequestration that we're under makes us long for each other. We are meant to uh, be in a social community, and by having social distancing, it has created a void. And I think that there's a dearth of invention around, that in that in that void, there is invention that we can create that helps bring us closer together. There's also invention that help us solve this so we never have to experience this again. And I think what I've seen around this COVID invention strategy around some of these companies is that one, we've taken it extremely seriously. Two, we have the knowledge and we have the material in the world already to solve our problems. It is about inventors harnessing what God has given us on this world, and no matter what you believe and whatever your belief system is, the world has provided already the solutions, and human beings have to simply harness them. This disease is no different. It has actually, from an invention standpoint, you can look at the virus itself and derive positive things from it. And it takes a very special human being to do that work. And we have a lot of them in our society, inventors that are thinking ahead.